Hey, Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, it is so awesome to be here with you today. Well, today is Saturday. That means it's time for our Saturday Seance. And I want to give a big shout out and say, first of all, before we get into this, thank you to all of you who came out to yesterday's video. Free for All Friday, we had a reading from the Mists of Avalon Oracle, and it was a lot of fun. So if you didn't see that, make sure to check that out after this video. It's in the queue right before this one. Well, welcome to Saturday Seance. For those of you who are new here, my name is Bob Hickman. I'm also known as Psychic Bob, and I am a professional psychic medium. And I come out of the Spiritualist church tradition. I was trained in the Spiritualist church and worked for many years as a platform medium. And these days I'm an independent medium, and I come here to YouTube to help spread the light and truth of spiritualism and give you guys a spiritual perspective. I thought today we'd start, before we get into our seance, with just a little reading. A lot of you have written and asked about trance mediumship. That's spelled T-R-A-N-C-E, trance, because that means that as a medium I go into a trance state. And when I'm in a trance state, spirits speak through me. And if you've never seen this type of mediumship, it may be a little strange, but don't worry, I'm just fine when I'm in trance. My spirit guide Fletcher is back here, and he always protects me, and he's the one who regulates my body's energy. But I thought you might like to hear about trance mediumship from another medium. This is one of my old books. I collect spiritualist books. It's called Upper Purgatory, and it's by Edward Bowden. And this is an account. It's about a guy named Charlie who traveled to visit various mediums. It's set in the 1950s. And this talks about his visit. And this is actually a real book. It's a real autobiography about his explorations of spiritualism. And he goes to visit a trance medium, which is the same type of medium I am. And I think it's really interesting to hear his description of his seance experience, because it's very much like what you will find in the Spiritualist church. And as a spiritualist, I totally recognize this setup here that they're doing in this book, because I'm like, oh, I know what that is. That's a trance circle, which I've participated in and do myself. So I thought we'd read a little bit from this perspective of Charlie, okay? So he says, he's arrived at somebody's house who's invited him for a seance. And he says, finally the medium, is a female medium, finally the medium in her modest living room, with shades drawn and drapes closed, sat down in an armchair, while the rest of us sat around her in a circle. The room was well lighted. Then she took several minutes explaining seance procedure to the two guests, including Charlie, who had never sat in a trance circle before. She began, for the benefit of those who haven't sat before, my phase of mediumship is trance. There are various phases of mental mediumship as well as physical mediumship. I am a mental medium, and I do not produce phenomena other than voices of spirit entities speaking through me when I am entranced and under the control of my master spirit guide, who protects me from evil forces which might want to possess my mind and body. As a child, I was clairvoyant and clairaudient. That means that the medium could see spirits as well as hear spirits. I could hear voices and frequently see spirit images around people. Later, I developed the trance state, which is a form of hypnosis by my guide. In this trance state, a visiting spirit uses my vocal cords to speak from his own seat of consciousness while I am unconscious, with only my subconscious as the rear guard in case my spirit guide allows something contrary to my nature. Then my subconscious might take me out of trance even without the aid of the guide. In other words, my guide is only the master of ceremonies, not of my soul. Mediums attract guides in keeping with their own characters and aspirations. Of course, I'm only an instrument like a pipe through which water flows, but it behooves me to be a clean instrument so I do not muddy the water. When a spirit speaks through me, he will identify him or herself. It is well that you carry on a conversation with an entity because your voice aids the vibration. When my guide feels I have been entranced long enough, he will bring me out of the trance by ordering the spirit that's talking through me to leave. So there you go. That is, as I always say to people, that's how it works. So I'm going to go into a trance. My spirit guide Fletcher is going to help direct the energy during the seance. And we'll see who comes through. As I always say, I never know if anybody will come through. I hope they will, but I can't guarantee it. So anyways, pull up your chairs. Now, like in the book, if you were here in my home, I would have you just sit. We'd be sitting in a little circle together. And so I invite you now to pull up your chair and know that virtually you are joining our seance circle. So I'm going to take down the lights. Like the medium in the book, I prefer softer lighting. So I'm going to work in red light. Red light is a softer lighting than white light. And I just work under that condition better. So I could do a whole class on red light seances, but we'll do that at another time. But just know that red light is just more conducive to spirit communications. So I'm going to take down my white light. Whoop, hold on. There's my red light. Okay. So I want you guys just to relax. I'm going to go into trance. Hang out with us, and I'll see you when I get back. Oh, this is Fletcher. Give us just a moment while we get control of the medium's vibration. Well, there we go. I think we've got control of the body. Well, whenever we of the spirit come over here, we have to kind of adjust things a little bit. It's kind of like listening to an old radio, you got to adjust the tuning to get in the signal just right. And it's the same thing with mediums. We have to feel out their vibrations, sense their ability to receive our energy, and we adjust our vocal vibration in their nervous system, and that way we're able to come through. Our medium seems to be in control now, and we're glad we've got him here with us. We've got a few people we'll be letting step in here and use his apparatus, and I'll see you when I get back. This is Fletcher, over and out. Good evening. My name is Alfred. I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to come here tonight to speak to you. Our medium is most generous in allowing us to use his body and his nervous system to speak to you and his vocal cords. As Fletcher was saying, it does take a bit of adjustment for us to come through a medium. We of the spirit world have many challenges when trying to manifest our voices upon the earth. First is this challenge to even find a medium who would be willing to let us to come through. And this is why we feel very fortunate that we have this medium who is very willing and able to allow us to use his body as a communication device. I'm not actually possessing his body. This is not the situation. But what it is that we stand behind the medium, and we, through our spiritual work can control the nervous system. It is as if we are operating a machine. And so I am able to speak, and because I have a connection with his nervous system, we're able to put our vibration through the vocal cords and speak to you as such. If I wanted to fully merge with the medium, I suppose that I could, but this takes a lot of energy and would be a strain on both he and I. And so I prefer to work at a distance. I stand directly behind him and transmit energy through his body and manipulate the elements of the body that need to be manipulated. This, though, however, also does take a great amount of energy. And so we must be mindful always of the medium's power and our own power. For if either side should lose its focus and its energy should fade, the communication would cease to continue, and my voice would disappear or fade to such a faint sound you could hardly hear it. Fortunately, this medium is being a clear channel for us today, and it is easier for us to come through him. I'd like to encourage those of you who are here tonight to consider that you also, or at least some of you I should say, perhaps not all, but some of you are being called to service of the spirit world. There are mediums here amongst us tonight. Some of you have held the belief that you could not do mediumship, or perhaps felt that it was beyond you. Yet you've had throughout your life paranormal experiences that have made you know that there is a reality greater than that found on the material earth plane. It is to you I speak tonight, for you do have the calling of spirit. You have the ability to be a medium. To be a medium requires a few choices that one must make. One must be open to the possibility. One must give to the spirit world the ability to work through one. In a sense, it is a giving up of your control, but it is not a total lack of control in that you are out of control. It is what we call a metered, measured pace control. This means that as you become closer to us and we become closer to you, there is a sharing and a blending, a co-mingling of frequencies, of vibrations. And as you become more comfortable with the experience, you will cede to us greater control, that we might, as we have done here with this medium, have control over the vocal cords and nervous system of the body. At any time, this medium can break out of trance if he feels uncomfortable. If he were to have a sudden fright or great fear, it should snap the connection that I have established. And so it is this reason that I seek to work with him in a very gentle way. It is true that the frequencies that come from the spirit world are very powerful, and for this case we must always have monitoring of the medium's physical vibration and mental vibration. For Fletcher stands ever present and on guard. He is monitoring as I speak the physical energy in the body of the medium, and should I overtax his nervous system, Fletcher should have me withdraw from the body in order to spare the medium physical damage. Mediums who do this sort of work, this trance work as this medium does, have a very delicate system in that they are very sensitive to frequencies, to vibrations and changes of those frequencies and vibrations. And we find that those are more sensitive. It is easier for us to, in a sense, have control over. Now, when we speak of control, it is not a domination, but again, remember, it is a commingling, a sharing of energies. But at some point, the medium must withdraw his consciousness far enough that our consciousness can take over. And this is why we say that we control the medium. For a short while, we do control him. But again, it is an understanding and a partnership of trust. I ask those of you tonight who are considering becoming mediums, or have thought perhaps it could be so, yet you are fearful of it, to not give up this hope. If you have a sincere interest in communicating with our world, I can assure you we will give you an assured communication, one that will be pleasant and positive and uplifting. You do not have to fear, for your mind's will be met by a spirit of equal measure. And what we mean by this is that like attracts like. Your consciousness that you have on earth will draw to you a spirit guide who is of equal or higher consciousness. And in so doing, you will feel a rapport and a comfort with this spirit. And in time, you will allow them to work through you. The most important thing, if you wish to become a trance medium, is to simply sit with us and commune with our world each day. If you speak to the spirit world will speak back to you. So do not doubt that we are present. We know that for some of you there is always the lingering doubt. You say, could this be real? Are the spirits real? But know that tonight you are hearing my voice. My voice comes through this medium. This is not his natural voice, as you can clearly see and hear. And so ask yourself, from whence doth come this communication? Does it come from the higher self? Does it come from another dimension? Or is it all a bunch of rubbish? I can assure you that in time we will prove our reality to you, and you will understand that we come from another dimension. It is called the spirit world. It is the other side. It is where those who have left the physical body dwell. And it is a vast and unlimited plane of existence. If some of this seems familiar to you, it is because deep within you know the truth. All of you hearing the sound of my voice tonight have actually come from the spirit world. Before you were born, you resided in the spirit world, planning your lifetime, planning your incarnation. And now you're on earth, the veil of forgetfulness covers you, and you forget temporarily who you really are. As you sit in meditation and commune with our world, that link will be reestablished. You have a sense of peace, a sense of knowing, and a lack of fear. There is a saying in the Bible, perfect love casts out fear. This is true, and then you will find that in your communion with our world, that fear will gradually leave you. Some of you have trepidation this evening. You say, I don't know if I would let a spirit come through me. This is because you have not yet communed with our world more fully, and so you cannot force your fear to leave. But if you spend time speaking with our world and listening for messages that will come across the etheric plane to you, you will start to receive your evidence of our presence. We invite you to consider that some of you here are being called to service. The gift of trance is not one that everyone possesses, but for those who do, it will bring great joy and great enlightenment. And if you dare to use your gifts in the service of humanity and in service of the spirit world, you will discover a great joy. The joy of the spirit world is one that there is no death, that life is eternal. And as a medium, think of the joy you could have and the happiness, knowing that you brought this reality over to others, that they need not fear death, but know that their consciousness would continue. It is a sacred work and a very great and ancient gift that has manifested across time in all of history, that have always been mediums upon the earth. Some say mediumship left after the apostles died. This is not true, for the spirit has never left the earth. And those who love us from the other side, those who are our loved ones, our family, our friends, never cease to exist. And that bond of love continues after death. And as a medium, you will discover more fully how the spirit world is speaking to many on earth on a regular basis. It is not that it is an occasional and strange thing that the spirit world would commune with us, but our world speaks to your world every day in many ways, through unlimited means. And so we invite you to consider and contemplate your connection to our world. If you wish to have a closer communion, make the time to speak to us. Invite us closer into your frequency. You can test the spirits by knowing their energy and ask yourself, would I be comfortable to merge more closely with the soul? And in so doing, you will discover that our world and your world are inextricably linked in a way that will not easily be broken. Spirit communication is not a fad that will someday fade from the earth. It is the true reality which all the earth shall interact with eventually and return to. So I invite you today to consider that you may be being called to service. Service upon the earth as a medium. Service to the spirit world. Fletcher says there are others who must step in now, so I shall be leaving this medium's body. I thank you for receiving my message. My name is Alfred. Greetings, my dears. My name is Rose. I am so very, very filled with joy today at the opportunity to come here and to speak to all of you. I was listening in here as dear Alfred shared his words of wisdom. And I must say to all of you that for those of you who wish to commune more closely with the spirit world, those of you who would like to be of service, there are countless souls over here waiting and wandering about, hoping for the chance to have a medium to work with. Now do not be afraid and say, well, I cannot serve the world, for I do not think that I am a trance medium. My dears, there are many forms of spiritual gifts available. You could be a clairvoyant where you describe your visions and the spirits that you see. You could be a clairaudient where you hear the messages that come from our world into your ears. You could be a trance medium, as this medium is, and allow us to more fully merge with you, to bring our voices through. My dears, know that anyway that you want to commune with us, we will be more than thrilled and joy-filled to connect with you. But what is important, my dear, is that you do not hold on to fear. Fear limits you in this life and in the next. This is why there are many earthbound souls who wander about your earth, why these hauntings occur. Souls are afraid to let go of control of this life, and want to control the next. My dears, mediumship will allow you to have less fear in terms of letting go of control. And if you can let go of control, you will find that we will help you to advance spiritually. Now, we don't mean become a crazy person wandering around, no boundaries or control. We mean to do a measured release of control. A release that is, as Alfred said, and I think he put it perfectly, a mingling of energies, a co-blending. When you let our presence closer to you, we can impinge upon your consciousness, your mind, truths that come from the spirit world. And these truths, if you share with others, will bring enlightenment, joy, and peace. Jesus said, if you know the truth shall set you free. I remember hearing this in my church. My vicar used to say, Jesus said, if you know the truth shall set you free. And my dears, I rejected all my life the truths of spiritualism. And yet here I am now in the spirit world, and finding that all that I rejected is utterly true, truer than blue, as they say. And so I invite each of you today to consider that if you let our world come closer, if you will allow us to work in harmony with you, we can do wonderful things together to help the suffering humanity who walks in ignorance, those who are blind to life eternal, those who refuse to consider that they are more than mere collection of flesh and bone. These souls who are under the delusion of materialism, and that they are nothing more than a collection of atoms, or perhaps an involved animal. These souls you can help through your service. To serve the earth as a medium, or a spirit communicator, or some form of spiritual service is a great gift to humanity, but it is also a gift to your own soul. For if you practice now receiving our world, you draw ever more spiritual light into yourselves. And this can only do good for you. For when you come back home, and make no doubt about it, my dears, this is your home, the spirit world. You come from here, and to here you shall return. But if, my dears, you will allow us to come through, to work with you, in whatever way you are comfortable, you shall gradually raise your light quotient, your vibration shall increase, and you will know that someday when you're done with this earthly life, you will know that there awaits for you a beautiful world where there is no death, there are no dying, there is no sorrow, save that of regret of what one could have done. And my dear, here in the spirit world, some of us do look back with regret. But we also have the clearer minds here to put all things in perspective. And so do not hold on to fears of what if and did I and should I have. My dears, embrace now the moment that allows you to come close to the spirit world. And know that we of the light will work with you to increase your light, that light may increase across the earth. Fletcher says the medium's power is starting to wane, and I do not wish to tax him. And so before I go and depart for returning to the spirit world, please hear today from me this very truth, my dears. You are greatly loved by infinite intelligence, or in a more simple way of saying it, you are loved by God. Do not judge yourself as unworthy of service, for the very fact that you are upon the earth already makes you heroes to those of us who reside in the spirit world. So allow yourself to forgive yourself of past error. Allow yourself to learn to love yourself. Allow yourself to let the Spirit come through you. And know that you are a worthy messenger, my dears. You are worthy to do the work of Spirit. The power is starting to fade, and I do feel myself going with it. But I do hope, my dears, that you will remember my words and hold on to the truth of the spirit world. Please remember to call upon me. You may call me by the name of Rose, and know that I will come to you in the future. But I do want you will allow me to be a servant to you. Well, Tubies, I'm back from my trance. I tell you, whenever I channel, I come back feeling like I've been to heaven. It's like this joy, this radiance comes through me. And I think that channeling is, at least for me, not at all a draining experience, but an uplifting experience, an experience of true connection and communion with the spirit people in their world. I hope you've enjoyed our seance today. Listen, if you'd like to, learn more about spiritualism and your own connection to the spirit world, I might invite you to think about joining our psychic development class. Every Saturday I hold a class, and in fact we had one earlier today. A lot of you are watching this were there. We had such a good time, and we hold it every Saturday on Zoom, and it's 2 hours from 12 noon till 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. And I teach people how to access their psychic connection. Today we did a wonderful class on giving spirit messages, learning how to deliver a message from spirit. We had some amazing and talented breakthroughs with our mediums today. So you might really enjoy that. Come out next Saturday. We are going to have class, by the way, after the Christmas holiday on the Saturday, the 26th? So yes, there will be class, and you can register for that over at my website at PsychicBob.com. That link will be in the info box below. But I hope you'll pop over there and register for a class. It's only $30. It's a 2-hour class. Now, let me tell you, where else are you going to get professional level psychic development training for only $30? By me directly, a top medium in the country. I don't know any other mediums that are offering at that price. So you might want to do that. Well, guys, listen, I have so enjoyed being here. Keep it here at Spirit Channel. We got more coming. Tomorrow is Sunday, and that means we're going to do a live Sunday night hangout with Psychic Bob. I'll be taking your chat questions live and doing mini live psychic readings here at Spirit Channel. So be here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. That's 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 5 Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific. For those of you in London, it'll be midnight London time. And for those of you in the continent, 1 a.m. Paris time. So I hope you'll come out and join our show live and see what the spirit people have for you. Well, listen, thanks for being here. I love you. If you want to get on my schedule for a private reading, by the way, I always forget this, give me a call at my office, 703-825-3929. My private sessions are an hour long. And in your session, we're going to cover your whole soul journey, past, present, and future. I'll identify your spirit guides, bring messages from them. Deceased loved ones come through, I bring messages from them. We'll look at your life mission, what you're here to do, your past life links, your karmic connections, all of that, and I answer all your questions. So if you've been saying, gee, I wish I could grab Psychic Bob and have him to myself for a full hour and find out everything I need to know, you might want to do a private reading. I always say a private reading is an investment in yourself. So anyways, consider that. If you want to get on my schedule, call me at my office. 703-825-3929 is the quickest way to reach me. So that phone number will also be in the box below. Well, guys, thanks for being here. I love you. We'll be back here tomorrow for live Sunday night hangout with Psychic Bob, where I'll be taking your psychic questions and doing live readings. I look forward to seeing you then. And until then, may all of you always blessed be.